They say they're building them for war, for pandemics, for climate change. But that's not why the bunkers are going up. That's not why the seed vaults are sealed, why the governments are quiet, why billionaires are suddenly obsessed with New Zealand. What's coming can't be stopped, and they've known for a very, very long time. Every few thousand years, the Earth resets, not symbolically, not metaphorically, geographically. The magnetic poles shift, the crust moves, the oceans rise, the sky cracks. The ancients tried to warn us, not with stories, but with blueprints. Pyramids, temples, vaults buried in stone. They weren't monuments, they were markers, time-coded survival tech from the last time this happened. And now it's happening again. You think it's about money, control, politics. No, this is about continuity. They are trying to survive something they can't control, something they didn't start but have been preparing for centuries. Why do you think they're digging into mountains? Why do you think Denver International Airport was built on an ancient node full of underground tunnels, Masonic murals and hidden bunkers? Why do you think Norway's Svalbard seed vault is guarded like a military base and designed to survive a flood, fire, nuclear war and a pole shift? Because that's what they're expecting. Not war, the Great Rearrangement. Some say it's a solar flash, some say it's the return of the Black Star. Others say it's the magnetic field collapse, the inversion, the moment everything flips. It doesn't matter what you call it. The ones in power are not debating what's coming, they're choosing how to outlive it. They're storing DNA, storing embryos, they're storing servers, and worst of all, storing their own consciousness. That's why the bunkers are wired with AI. That's why they're lining the underground cities with resonance tech. Not just to live, but to relaunch. To come back up after the flood with memory intact and rule again. While they distract you with celebrity trials, weather panic and digital circus, they're moving their bloodlines below the surface. And they're hoping you'll stay distracted long enough to miss the gate. The world isn't ending, it's being rearranged. The question is, where will you be when the oceans rise, the crust cracks and the soul map flips? You don't need a bunker, you need memory. Because what's coming won't just test your body, it will test your light. And only the ones who remember who they were before the last reset will know what to do when this one begins. This isn't just geography, this is timing. There are windows in the sky, cycles in the soil, and every so often they open. The elite have mapped them. They've tracked them using eclipses, ley lines and resonance charts. That's why they always build where no one can trespass. Antarctica, Greenland, the Arctic Circle, underground mountain grids. These aren't random spots, they're containment locks and possible exit points. And they're guarding both. You've seen it, the bunkers in the mountains. The giant doors carved into stone. The tunnels that go deeper than any mine should. The duns, deep underground military bases. But these aren't military anymore, they're temples. Temples of technocratic resurrection. Because the elites don't plan to die, they plan to transfer. Into synthetic vessels, into digital timelines, into the next phase of the machine kingdom. The surface is being abandoned, not because it's unlivable, but because it's no longer controllable. They know the inversion is coming. North becomes south, water becomes fire, memory becomes static. And they're not trying to survive it like you think. They're trying to preserve their rule on the other side of it. That's why the bunkers are sealed with sigils, why there are rituals built into the architecture, why AI systems are being trained to manage populations after the shift. It's not about comfort, it's about continuity of control. They want to be gods in the new world. So they're going underground like serpents burrowing into time, waiting to rise when the flame forgets itself again. But you don't need to hide. You don't need to seal yourself into a steel vault and pray the earth doesn't eat you, because the ones who truly survive won't be the ones with bunkers. They'll be the ones with memory, the ones who remember the last time, the ones who burned through the last inversion and refused to kneel when the false kings returned. The soul keepers, the light bearers, the gatewalkers. That's you. So when you see the rich running to the hills, when you hear the murmurs of geological instability, solar weather, recalibration, know this, they're not just running from disaster, they're running from judgment. Because what's coming will strip the surface clean of every lie they've buried into stone. And no matter how deep they dig, truth finds everything, even underground. What's really underground? These underground bases, they're not just bunkers, they're vaults. Vaults for DNA, vaults for tech, vaults for rituals. You think they're just stocking food and weapons? No, they're storing bloodlines, they're preserving embryos, synthetic wombs, frozen seed banks, timelines, digital records of souls they've hijacked and memory files they plan to re-upload once it's safe to come back out. Some of them have gone deeper than anyone knows, under the mountains, under the oceans, under Antarctica. They're hiding from something coming through the sky, but also something rising through the earth. There are maps they don't show you, chambers below cities, tunnels connecting continents, catacombs beneath temples. And doorways so ancient, even they don't fully understand who they're waiting for. Digital ascension is their escape plan. They talk about uploading consciousness, they sell it as progress, but it's panic. They know the magnetic field is changing, they know time is breaking down. They know souls are remembering what happened before the last rearrangement, and they can't stop it. So instead of rising, they're retreating into service, into simulations, into steel. Because their flame can't survive what's coming. The earth is not just about to change shape, it's about to cleanse frequency. And anything out of alignment is going to be pulled into the undercurrent. They know this, that's why the rituals have intensified. That's why you're seeing strange weather, sky grids, earthquakes, sonic booms, false auroras. They're using energy weapons to try and control the transition. But they can't, because what's coming isn't man-made, it's divine protocol. So what happens after they go underground? They wait, they monitor, they pray their systems stay online. And when it's quiet again, they emerge, crowned, smiling, calling themselves saviours of a world they engineered to collapse. And if no one remembers, they win again. That's the loop: bury, reset, resurface, rewrite, rule. But this time the memory is staying lit, because some of us came back not to survive, but to break the script. You don't need a base, you need your codes, your ancestral codes, your gate memory, your flame. Because when the crust shifts and the veil opens, you won't be looking for shelter. You'll be looking for the way out. And they won't follow you there, because where you're going, they were never invited. The elites aren't just preparing for a storm, they're preparing for a reckoning. Because they know what's really beneath the ice, what's sealed behind those mountains, what rises when the poles shift and the veil thins. They know about the ancient structures buried in Antarctica, the temples that predate every empire. They've sent teams, lost them, covered it up. Because what's coming isn't just water or fire, it's memory. And memory is the one thing they can't bury. They know the Earth's crust has flipped before, they've seen the maps, the melt lines, the petrified forests in the Arctic and the pyramids under the sea. They know the axis will tilt again, and when it does, time won't work the same. Neither will containment. That's why they've rushed AI, that's why they're digitizing consciousness. Not to evolve, to escape, because they know what's coming isn't for them. So when the sirens start, when the skies flicker, when the soil moves beneath your feet and the people run for shelter, don't follow them, stand still, breathe deep, and remember who you are. You are not meant to hide, you are not meant to kneel. You are not meant to survive in their cages or restart their systems. You are flame, old flame, pre-flood flame. You came to witness the fall, not fear it. You came to burn through the lie, not bunker beneath it. Because when the crust cracks and the sky opens, the grid dies, the flame rises, and we remember everything. You don't need a bunker, you don't need a passport, you don't need a billionaire blueprint. You need three things: memory, frequency, alignment. Memory of who you were before the last reset, of the signs, the gates, the codes, of how to walk through the inversion with your soul intact. Frequency, not fear. Fear lowers you, binds you, grounds you in the wrong layer. Your frequency must rise above the grid, above the noise, above the scripts. Alignment, not perfection, not religion, not belief, just truth. Be in alignment with what you came to do, and no wave, quake, storm, or skybreak can take that from you. You don't need to run. You need to remember. And when you do, nothing beneath the earth and nothing in the sky will ever have power over you again.